So the other day I mentioned to you guys that old Jim Willie, known as the Golden Jackass, is his nickname on the internet. Guy's been around a long time, totally into the gold and silver market. He was the one that said gold would be like $7,000 an ounce. That when I was talking the other day about the BRICS nations, already basically determining a price that once the Western Empire, aka America and friends, are done away with here shortly financially, that they would basically have their currency system, which will be backed by gold and silver, and that they wanted silver, or that they kind of agreed, I guess, on a price of silver being around roughly $250 an ounce, and gold being $7,000 an ounce. So if you do the math, silver performance-wise will be way better than gold. As I've always said, you'll be real happy with the way gold performs, but you're going to be even more happier than the way silver performs. If you own both, good. If you own gold, good. If you own just silver, good. Doesn't matter. So he just got done talking here recently, Jim Willie again. The whole bullion situation's coming to a climax, and he says the bullion bank run is basically in progress. The bullion banks, there's a run on them. Climax coming is what he said. He said, hang on to your gold and silver. Don't watch the corrupt gold price, because I can guarantee you in the next several months, or maybe a year, roughly, there will be no COMEX gold price or silver price, because they will have no inventory. They will offer no more futures contracts because the lineup for lawsuits and prosecution will be so long. As I also mentioned, I guess it was yesterday or the day before, little chart I was looking at of COMEX inventories all over the last several years, going up, building up, and then all of a sudden, way down. 2012, 2013, oh my God, it's just going straight down. The inventory of the COMEX, I'm talking gold and silver, physical gold and silver, is going bye-bye urgently, in a hurry. And here we have, last night, silver's down like 80 cents or something. It's down to the 21 point something, some change. I did a video on it. It already wiped all that off and rebounded up, it was like a $2 move throughout that 24-hour period. And keeping in mind, the webhot said you'd see $5 a day moves in silver, followed by $20 a day moves. We have seen some $5 moves over the last couple of years, more than once. And most of that was down, actually. However, there was a time when it was up almost $6 to $7 up, and it was about a 26-hour period of time, not 24 hours, so whatever. And it called that. So it's not done. We haven't seen the $20 moves yet. If the price of silver right now is $22 to $23, you're certainly not going to have a $20 move down so that silver is $2 an ounce. Ain't going to happen. I wish it would happen, because I know it would be very temporary, and I would capitalize on that like you've never seen before. But reality is that it's just not going to go that low. And if it did, I'd love to be wrong. Again, I'd be very happy with old JP Morgan and friends. I'd send them a thank you letter and say, JP Morgan and friends, I want to personally thank you for destroying the silver market, for rigging the hell out of it so that I can have some silver. I know you're not doing this because of me, but I'm going to capitalize on your problems. Kind of like you do everybody else. You create the problems and then capitalize on it. I didn't create the problem. You created the problem, but I'm going to capitalize on it. So he says, anyways, back on track here. A bank run in gold bullion banks. It's a vault run. Wealthy investors are asking for their gold, and some are finding out that it's not there. It's gone. It's been lent out, as I said, 1,000 ways from Sunday. Lent out, borrowed, etc., and never put back. And since the Hong Kong exchange, which I just talked about, is no longer delivering physical gold and silver. I mean, didn't they just get that thing going recently, in recent times? I mean, like not even a couple years ago, I think. This thing, the Hong Kong exchange is now online. Oh, cool. And now they're shutting it down. Not shutting it down, but saying no longer physical delivery, starting like, I forgot what day it said, like urgently. We're going to cash settle, and we reserve the right to set the price on the cash settlement. Excuse me? So you get to also dictate what price you're settling at? You see, if you listen to old J Snip 4 and Pastor Dowell, Greg Manarino, and there's a lot of other people, SGT Bull, you read Silver Doctors, you would know that that wouldn't affect you, couldn't possibly affect you, because you'd be buying physical gold and silver, especially silver. We are silver guys to the max. This can't hurt you. You can't worry about the COMEX or the Hong Kong Exchange or whoever saying we are settling in paper money today. You may be wanting to hold on to that contract a little bit longer, so the price goes up. Oh, but wait a minute. You only had a 30-day window to hold on to that contract, depending on what kind of futures contract you had. Sometimes it's a daily contract. You got to get out of it at the day, during the day. If I'm in May right now and I've got a June futures contract, that's it. I can't go any longer than that. I have to get rid of it by that time, or they liquidate it automatically. So could you imagine saying, I know the price is going to rise. I know it's going to, and I'm just going to hold on to that futures contract. You can't. You have to sell it within that certain amount of time, whichever month you got out on that contract that you would have done in advance. You would have known the month that you decide to hang on to it until. And once the day comes, you can't just say, oh, I want to hold on to it. It will get liquidated. And they'll do the liquidating and tell you, oh, today's price is even worse than it was before. Here's your cash money for that contract. Now, if you weren't a bozo, you would have never done that. Now, I was a bozo in 2008. I told you this. I didn't know any better back in 2008. And I lost my rear end on a single mini futures contract, thanks to JP Morgan pulling the old trigger on me. And I lost about $3,000. I jumped onto that class action lawsuit, which I have no idea what the hell's happening with that right now. It's like in limbo land. Last I heard, they were throwing it out, or they were going to. They may not. Whatever. And I started to think about it. If I lose $3,000, which I did, but was able to know this in advance and learn from that, why that happened to me, and realize I had to get physical silver, and now I have physical silver, and I want to get more physical silver to ride that train to the top, that will be the best $3,000 I ever lost in my life. I'll be so pleased. Because that was probably one of the main things that kicked me into gear and seeing how things work and realizing stuff is rigged. But it was too late at that time. So, finally, I've read some of this from Silver Doctors here. They were talking about Jim Willey, who holds a PhD in statistics, says things are getting worse. And he says, quote, back in 2011 and 2012, you had an important event like every 3 to 4 months. Now it's like every 2 to 3 weeks. So the mean time between failures is rapidly declining. So it's happening quicker. He goes on to predict that before they were talking about the stress test. Remember that? The banking stress test. We've passed with flying colors. Everything's good. Nothing to worry about. Remember that stuff? That nonsense? So he says that before they were talking about stress tests. Now they realize that all of them in the past were a fraud. So they are talking about bail-ins, not bailouts. That's when people over the FDIC insured limit, their money just goes bye-bye. See you later. So now they're talking about bail-ins because they're expecting failures. He says it's all coming to a climax where gold is going to be central with a gold trade central bank and gold priced at $7,000 per ounce. And again, silver will be around $2.50 an ounce if they have their way. But when you see a Western economy collapsing, and the price of gold starting to move like these guys are talking about. I'm talking the BRICS nations, the Chinese, all those guys. Everybody is going to, it's just like the housing market. Everybody's going to want to get in it. Have to. It's the last thing that's going to save me. It's a way to make a bunch of money. There's going to be people who don't recognize this is just for financial livelihood to save it. And they'll just think, oh, investment opportunity. And they're going to jump on the bandwagon. During the same times, we are seeing physical shortages. That's going to, in my opinion, and I believe I'll be right 100% here, is going to cause the prices to spike way above $250 an ounce for silver. Sure, after the feeding frenzy is over and the top's in, whether that's $500, $600, $700 an ounce, wherever it is, will finally come back down to maybe $250 an ounce. That'll be when I am already out. See you later. So, That's all I got for you. I got another video to do about a disturbing thing I've been seeing out here in Tennessee in the farmland. Because I was so excited to move out here next to farmland in case of an emergency, solar flare, you know, power goes out. Hey, I've got farmer friends, you know, right all around me. And I've got a bunch of seeds that they don't have because they just do the normal stuff like corn. But I've got everything, and I always thought if the worst case thing happened, I could go over there and say, hey, look what I got. You guys help grow it or grow it. I'll give you the seeds. We'll, you know, help you out. And I have a staple of foods to grow. But I started noticing something, and I want to talk about that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and I'll start a new one.